let me ask you a question. Have you ever wanted something so badly you felt like you were just owed it? I mean, really felt it in your bones? Well, what if getting that one thing, just for one night of glamour, ended up costing you everything? Okay, let's dive into a classic story that explores exactly that.
So today, we're breaking down a really famous short story by Guy de Maupassant called The Necklace. And let me tell you, it is a powerful tale about desire, about wanting to be someone you're not, and it has one of the most devastating twist endings of all time.
All right, so let's meet our main character. Her name is Matilda Loisel, and the thing you need to know about her right from the get-go is that she is just deeply, profoundly, and constantly unhappy with her life.
So here's the crucial thing about Mathilde. She genuinely believes her life is a mistake. She thinks she's a victim of what the story calls an error of destiny. Basically, she's convinced she was born for a life of riches and high society, but somehow she ended up trapped in this modest, middle-class world. And this isn't just a passing thought, you know? It is the absolute core of who she is.
And you can really see this stark contrast that just defines her whole world. In her head, she's picturing these elegant dinners, shining silverware, exquisite food. But her reality? It's an apartment with shabby walls and worn-out chairs. And this huge gap between her dreams and her life, it doesn't just make her sad. The story says it literally tortures and angers her every single day.
This even spills over into her marriage. See, her husband is a pretty simple guy, a clerk, and he's totally content with the small things. He comes home from work, sees dinner, and is genuinely thrilled, like, oh, the good pot pie, you know? And his simple happiness, it just throws her misery into even sharper relief. It makes her feel even more trapped.
So, you've got all this simmering unhappiness, right? Well, something's gotta give. And it does. When an unexpected opportunity comes along. It seems like a dream come true, but really, it's the trigger for an absolute nightmare.
Her husband comes home one night and he is just beaming. He's managed to get a super exclusive invitation to this huge party at the minister's palace. He thinks she's going to be over the moon. I mean, this is her big chance to finally see that glamorous world she's always dreaming about. Of course, he could not be more wrong.
Instead of being happy, her immediate reaction is just annoyance, despair even. To her, this invitation isn't an opportunity. It's a spotlight shining on everything she doesn't have. Her very first thought isn't, wow, a party, it's, what on earth am I going to wear? So her husband, who just wants to make her happy, asks how much a decent dress would cost. She throws out a number, 400 francs. And here's the first real sacrifice in the story. It turns out that is the exact amount of money he had been saving to buy a hunting rifle to go on trips with his buddies. And he gives it to her. Just like that.
Okay, so she gets the dress. But is she happy now? Nope. A few days before the party, she's all anxious again. Her thinking is, there is nothing more humiliating than looking poor when you're surrounded by rich women. The dress isn't enough. She needs jewels. She needs to complete the look.
So her husband, who's always trying to fix things, comes up with what seems like a brilliant idea. He says, hey, why don't you borrow some jewelry from your rich friend, Madame Forestier? And to Mathilde, this is perfect. It's the solution to everything.
So she goes over to her friend's house, and she's looking through all these jewels, and then she sees it. Tucked away in a black satin box, a stunning diamond necklace. The story says her hands literally tremble when she puts it on. It's perfect. This is it. This is the final piece of the puzzle. So there we have it. She's got the dress, she's got the jewels, she is all set for her one night of glory. But, as you can probably guess, this one night is going to have a price tag she could never, ever have imagined. And for a few hours, it is everything she has ever dreamed of. Seriously. At the ball, she is a total knockout. Everyone's looking at her. She's dancing. She's drunk on the attention and the glamour. For just this one night, her fantasy is real. It's a victory that the story calls so complete and sweet to her heart. So they finally leave the party at 4 in the morning. They walk for a bit, find some rickety old carriage, and head back to their apartment. And she stands in front of the mirror, right? She wants one last look at herself in all her glory. And that's when the dream comes crashing down.
She lets out a cry. The necklace, it's not around her neck. It's gone. The panic is just immediate, absolute. They search everywhere, in her dress, in her pockets, in her coat. Nothing. The dream is officially over, and the nightmare is just beginning.
So what do? You lose something incredibly valuable that isn't yours. Do you fess up and tell the truth? Or do you try to cover it up? Well, the Loisels make a choice, a fateful choice, and it's one that will plunge them into a decade of horrible, crushing poverty.
After a week of searching with absolutely no luck, they decide they have to replace it. They find a necklace that looks just like it, but the price tag is staggering. So her husband has 18,000 francs from an inheritance. They have to borrow the other 18,000 from loan sharks, from anyone who will lend to them, basically signing away their entire future.
And this is what kicks off a grueling 10-year ordeal, a full decade of what the story calls the horrible life of necessity. They have only one goal now: pay back this terrifying debt.
So that life of luxury she was always dreaming about, it's replaced by the harshest reality imaginable. They get rid of their maid, they move into a tiny attic apartment, she learns how to do the odious work of a kitchen, scrubbing floors, washing clothes by hand, arguing with the butcher over every penny. Meanwhile, he's working 2 extra jobs late into the night. And that woman who dreamed of elegance, she becomes what the story calls a strong, hard woman of the poor household.
So, after 10 long, brutal years, the debt is finally paid off. It's over. Matilda has aged horribly from the hardship, but in her mind, she's paid for her mistake. And then one day, walking down the street, she runs into the very person who started this whole mess.
She's out for a walk one Sunday, and she spots Madame Forestier, who, of course, is still young, still beautiful, still elegant. And Mathilde thinks, you know what? It's all paid off. I can finally tell her the truth.
So she goes up to her and she explains everything, how she lost the necklace and had to replace it. And you can almost hear the pride in her voice when she says it. It has taken us 10 years to pay for it, but it is finished and I am decently content. See, in her mind, this whole decade of suffering was some kind of heroic, noble sacrifice.
And then comes the final, soul-crushing twist. Madame Forestier is horrified. She takes Mathilde's hands and she reveals the truth. The necklace, the one she lent her, it was fake. It was costume jewelry, worth maybe 500 francs at most. All of it. The debt, the suffering, the 10 years of their ruined lives, it was all for nothing. A single choice, born out of pride and the need to look rich, cost them absolutely everything for an object that was worthless from the start.